and it is Tuesday the 3rd of January, and thanks again for watching, and thanks for all your support for the site too. It's all kept free of charge by the adverts that you see around the site here, so thank you for showing the support for the advertisers. It is really appreciated by me and by them as well, so thank you very much for that. Not really much to add today that I've been saying on previous videos, really. The NAA, the North Atlantic Oscillation look, is just forecast to bounce around the neutral territory, certainly coming off from this strongly positive territory as we head into the middle part of the month. So less into negative than it has been recently. This is more towards my way of thinking about things as well as we go through for mid-month. Now, as far as the AO is concerned, so the Atlantic Oscillation, that also, look, on the GFS model, isn't going quite into so much strong neutral territory as it has over previous runs. And also we've got a big discrepancy here in the various different runs of the model, look, widely between positive and negative, but tending to go around neutral weakly into negative. Now that's the measure of the westerly winds around the Arctic Circle. When they fall into neutral negative territory, that means that cold air can advance its way southwards. That's what brings us sometimes winter cold weather. Now we need to look for signs for that on the 500 millibar charts. These are the 7 to 10 day means from the ECMWF on the left here and the GFS here on the right, and this is valid for the period from next Tuesday through to Friday the 13th, and you can see how they're trying to build in these above normal heights again to the south of the country, with below normal up towards the north, and that basically maintains this jet stream across the Atlantic. You can see it here and also here, blowing across the Atlantic, affecting Scotland, which brings the more unseasonal, well, the more seasonal, windy, wet weather there, with southern parts of the country staying dry. However, this isn't the whole story, because we need to look back further into the States and across the northwestern parts, the northeastern parts of Asia, to look for signals as to what's going on. And what we're looking for here is for cold air starting to dig in to Canada and the States. The effect of that is going to be to strengthen the trough here. In fact, you can see it better on the GFS look. Follow the blue line round and we get this cold air digging into the eastern states, deepening off this trough and strengthening the ridge through the Atlantic. Now, what I'm looking for on these charts is for a change in pattern on the charts, and I can probably just show you more about what I mean by looking at these. This is the analysis the forecast analysis for 12 o'clock today from the Ensemble model. UK under here, look, and you notice how we've got this strong ridge look through the States, deep trough out in the east, but if you count them, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 troughs, main troughs, around the hemisphere this afternoon. That's all indicative of quite a mobile westerly situation. But if you then have a look at the 384 hour and see what happens on that, we've got a subtle change that's taken place. This is valid for 384 hours, so this is going to be taking us into the middle part of the month, so we're getting up towards the 17th of January here, and just wanted to show you, look, these changes. Deep trough has moved into the central eastern parts of the States. So we've got trough here, we've got trough here, trough here and trough here. We're down to 4 troughs around the hemisphere. But notice how this ridge is building off the western states through the pole as well. And what this does is it drags colder air down into the States, and it will try and push these troughs out into the Atlantic, building the ridge across the UK. Now, what I suspect could happen is that this ridge here eventually links in with a ridge across the pole here, and what that does is develops high pressure, I suspect, north or northeast of the country. That pushes the jet stream further southwards, or splits the jet stream, pushes it further southwards, and brings more unsettled conditions across southern parts of the country, whereas the north tend to stay dry. But for all of us, it is likely to become cooler in the second half of the month. Now, I've stressed before and I stress again, this is not last winter, so we're not going to see the depths of cold that we saw then. It's just that I think temperatures may well fall off during the second half of January. I've got to say the signals from the models this morning aren't as strong as they once were for that to take place. So, you know, we're looking at a few changes in the model, and I've got to take them into account, but I don't at the moment want to pull away from my longer range prediction. So this is the forecast from the GFS model for the 13th of January. High pressure down towards the south, look, low pressure up towards the north, jet stream blowing through here, so still unsettled conditions Northern Ireland and into Scotland, but drier across southern parts of the UK and through much of Europe. Compare that with the ECMWF model, and this is for the same time. Look, virtually the same. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, so milder dry conditions to the south, cooler, breezier up to the north. Now this is the start period for when things may begin to change, so we have to look for movements in that area of high pressure. Although I have to admit, from these operational forecasts, looking at the charts, there's very, very little sign of that high even trying to move towards the north of the UK on these just yet. So we're thinking 15th, 16th, 17th of January at least before this potentially takes place. But we may not necessarily expect to see those signals just yet. We just need to keep on watching and see how things develop over the coming 5 to 7 days. So once again, thanks for watching and keep the sun shining.